I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the ProTour #1, Joe Cullen. Thanks for the time, Joe. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, Alex. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I've enjoyed the time off, but it's been really nice to get back playing again.
Yeah, and we certainly saw that. It's been just over a week now since you doubled your tally of titles for the season, winning on the first day of the Super Series last week, leaving Milton Keynes. How did you reflect on your week overall?
Well, if you look at the results, I got progressively worse, I think. But yeah, my aim was to go there and win at least one title. But I'm as surprised as anyone knew it was the first day, with such a long layoff. But it's just how it works out. Sometimes it's, I had a tough draw, but it worked out, and I ended up winning. And obviously similar with Gezi as well. He did the same amount of time off as well, and we both made the final the first time of asking. So yeah, it was pleasing to get the win, but I think the consistency wasn't there for the rest of the week. I think by the last day, it was just a bit tiring, obviously, with being off so long. And, playing as much darts as they had done after such a long layoff. So I think I just got a bit tired in the end.
You mentioned the layoff. You were one of several players to skip the third Super Series over in Germany. Was it the travelling and the restrictions that put you off, or did you want to have a little break during the season?
No. My flight was booked to go, and the hotel was booked and everything. Because obviously with it being elite sport, we had an exemption form, for when we returned to the UK to not have to quarantine. And then I think it was about 6 days before we were supposed to fly. I don't know if it was Germany or the UK that introduced it, but there was a mandatory 10-day quarantine upon return. So I said to my manager, Jason, who said if there's any sort of quarantine, I won't be going. I've got sort of 2 young kids that I need to be getting out of the house to take to school, and my wife works sort of on the front line of the NHS, so it was the decision was made for me, but that was always going to be the case.
Well, let's take a little look further back. We last had you on the show just after your run to the quarterfinals of the World Match Play 2018. You spoke to my co-host Burton. Since then, you've become a winner on the Euro Tour, the first of those titles, the European Darts Match Play 2019. What are your memories of that weekend?
Yeah, probably as far as what a singular day goes, probably the best day that I've had in darts, in particular the PDC. But it was just one of those days. I remember it pretty well. I knew I was going to win. It was a really strange feeling. I spoke to some of the boys that was there at the time, and I knew I was going to win the event. Didn't matter who I played. It was just a strange feeling, and I've had it a few times since, and I've managed to win as well. So it's just, if you can bottle that feeling and just open the bottle every time you needed it, that'd be great. Yeah,
so a good feeling to have, and that second Euro Tour title followed towards the end of last year, again beating Michael van Gerwen in the final to win the International Darts Open. What did that mean to you? Yeah,
it was nice to back up sort of the previous year's win. Obviously, there only been 4 European tours last year due to the sort of COVID. It was nice. It was nice to win one, and there was fans there as well, which made it even more special.
And we have to talk about the World Championship last year, and firstly the game with your friend on tour, Johnny Clayton, the 2 tops in the decider. We spoke with Johnny recently about the game and the great sportsmanship that was on show between you two. How special was it to pull off a shot like that in the final leg?
Yeah, especially given the record I've got there. It was, and it all pretty much my own way in the first round against Wayne Jones. He didn't really turn up. And then after that, Johnny, he was similar to me. He was starting to play really well consistently. And obviously he's gone on to bigger and better things, as we've seen this year with the Premier League. But yeah, it was one of those. He was coming back at me, and I'd played him once on TV before, and it was just sort of a nice game, if you like. But I noticed that Johnny was, he was giving it loads during the game. It's nothing towards me, but probably just trying to get himself sort of up for the game. And I just thought, well, he's bang up for it as well. So that's why the reaction and the emotion poured out at the end for myself.
And then came that epic clash with MVG in the next round. You only threw 1980s in that game. You lost out in a decider, and after you said you've never been as gutted to lose a game, you're sure you'll find some positives over the next week or two, but you felt a bit deflated when the dust did settle. How did you reflect on that night?
Yeah, plenty of positives to take from the game. Again, I spoke with my dad after the game and the management, and it was a case of sort of a stock's risen, you know what I mean? There was people talking about it that weren't even interested in darts. You had Premier League footballers, celebrities all over the place, you know. So at least people sort of stood up and took notice of, you know, what I am capable of. But as far as the game goes, it was a tough one to take at the time. But you know, I'm well over it now. I just thought maybe put too much pressure on myself the last leg. Because I thought that, you know, I'd been up there for I don't know how many hours, threw everything at him, and he was still there. And I just said to myself, you know, don't blow it. Maybe I think that was, looking back now, I think that was the wrong thing to say. I should have just carried on the way I was playing. I know it's easier said than done, but I think by saying to yourself, don't blow it, you put a little bit of doubt in your mind. And obviously Michael, who was world number 1 at the time, he piled in with a 180, I think, second throw, so you're massively under it. But yeah, I can't be too harsh on myself. I missed a couple of darts to win, but there was at the Bull. I think anyone can miss a Bull. It's when you start missing 2 or 3 darts to win, you know, consecutively. That's when you need to get on your own back, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned the 2 darts at the Bull. You kindly sent us a video message accepting the Match of the Year award. Our listeners voted for it. That was their Match of the Year for last year. Did you watch any of the game back or any of the clips? Because John Part in commentary on them shots at the Bull, it was a great match to watch.
In fact, I think that's out of the whole match, I think that's the only one that I saw. I think there's a miss of 164, and John Part's, I think, testicles went into outer space. I think it was. I think that's the only actual thing I saw of the whole game. I've never been one for watching myself back, especially if I lose. I don't mind watching the odd one back if I win. So maybe it's time to, you know, put those big epic games, you know, like that one against Michael, the one in Blackpool against Gary. I was involved in 2 amazing games, but I've been on the receiving end of both of them. So, you know, next time I'm involved in a game, I'm sure I'll be the victor that time.
Definitely, and we should mention as well that the shirt you wore on stage that night, you put up for auction and you raised a lot of money for charity. Talk to us about that. Yeah,
it was just a thing. I'm a big rugby league fan, Wigan Warriors fan, and obviously the thing with Rob Burrow, you know, it's terrible. He's got a young family and he's got a wife, and to be diagnosed with that at such a young age, you know, knowing that there's nothing you can do, you're powerless. I just thought it'd be nice just to put something out there, you know, for them. And a lady from Holland, I forget her name, she bought it, she paid 1,400 for it, so it was a great amount, you know, for the shirts. And obviously all that money was donated straight to, you know, the Rob Burrow Foundation. So yeah, it was a small token compared to the amount of money they've raised, but it was nice to, you know, sort of do my bit for it.
Yeah, it's a lovely gesture. And speaking of charity, we recently saw you appear on a celebrity edition of Bullseye, partnering up with David Seaman and going all the way to win. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I literally got the phone call, I think it was about a week and a half before actually going on the show. We filmed it at the start of April, and I originally thought that it was going to be, you know, the familiar format, you know, where the pro goes on, throws 9 darts for charity. And then Jason said to me, oh, actually it's you, Wayne Mardle and Fallon. So yeah, it was nice to get paired up with David Seaman. He was a really nice fella. He could play darts as well, but I think the biggest surprise was Angela Griffin. She was showing me a setup she has at home. She has genuinely has a better setup than me. She has all, genuinely as well. She was showing me she has all the tripod up, and her and her husband play every Friday night in some online darts league. I thought she was winding me up when she was telling me, and then she was showing me all the pictures and stuff, and it was great. But so in regards to the show, it was really good fun. It was all light-hearted humour, and I think they cut most of the best bits out. Alan Carr gave David Seaman a few things about what his nickname should be, obviously with his last name, but there was cut out the shows. But it was all good fun on the day, and obviously to win it with the golden dart at the end, you probably couldn't have scripted it any better. Yeah,
it's a good ending. And speaking of setups, we've seen a big change for you in the last 12 months. You've gone from Unicorn, you parted ways with them for a long time, moved over to Windmill. How's that switch been so far? It seems like it's worked out quite well so far.
Yeah, that's how it seems. Like I say, the decision to leave Unicorn, it was, I wouldn't say it was an easy one, but it just felt like it needed to come. You know, we're left on, you know, really good terms with Edward and Matt there. You know, they wish me well leaving, but I just felt I'd been with them a long time, and I think me personally, nothing to do with them. I think my sort of darts have gone a little bit stale and a little bit, stale is the word. So obviously Windmill, spoke to Jason, my manager at Modus, and just said, look, Windmill would be my preference. Obviously I heard great things about what Lee's done for players down there, Peter Wright, obviously Michael, Gezi as well. I've heard nothing but good things about him, and I went down on the day and we got my darts sorted within the day, and obviously the sales of them, I think they're the best selling dart I think of the last, since it came out. I don't think there's any darts that sold better than them, so it just goes to show, that Lee's eye for, making a desirable barrel, not just for me but for the public as well. It's great, and obviously you can see that the barrels work as well. I think I've got three titles I think using them, so I don't think he's bad in the first 6 months.
Certainly done well, and we've seen you throw some big averages this year as well. 111 against Max Hopp, a 105 against Ian White on the way to that title last week, but also picking up wins when you're not at your best. You had a 93 average against James Wade, MVG and Gerwyn Price to win the title last week. Is that something you've noticed, the ability to dig in and get results when you're not firing?
Yeah, definitely. Just I think the bigger shots in games, and when I say bigger shots, I mean it could be for a 12 dart, it could be for a 21 dart. The bigger shots seem to hit more often than I miss. And I've noticed as well, obviously, because I'm playing, really, really well at the minute, and being the number one, I've been, I think, vulnerable a few times in games, but it just seems like the player who I've been playing has sort of buckled a little bit. I can relate to it, when I first came on the scene and you're drawing sort of Phil Taylor, Van Gerwen first games, and you sort of play the player, not just the game. And I think I've definitely seen a difference in the way people approach playing me, I think.
Well, let's look ahead then. We've got another Super Series coming up in a few weeks before the World Match Play. What's the plan for you now? I think it's less than 4 weeks before Blackpool. What's the plan to get yourself ready? Just carry on doing the same as what I'm doing. I think the 3-month layoff that we just had, I didn't really practice at all. I think I picked them up about probably a week and a half before in Milton Keynes, but it's different now. Obviously, I'm practicing sort of as we speak, and I'll be putting the hours in, right up until Blackpool. Hopefully, can pick up another title or two in Coventry in 2 weeks' time. Just keep that winning feeling going into probably the second biggest major of the year. And ranking-wise, you're up to number 15 now. You've been around that top 16 for a few years. What's the next goal for you? Are you looking towards the top 10, top 8, and firmly establishing yourself at the top?
Yeah, well, I've never really looked at rankings in the sense that I need to be here, I need to be there. If you're performing well on a consistent basis and on TV, the rankings will take care of themselves. I've seen some of the projected rankings for the World Championships, and I'm around number 11 and 12, so I can have a couple of solid runs on TV, maybe even pinch a title on TV. I think I'll rocket straight into the top 10, and like I say, they'll take care of themselves, the rankings. Definitely,
yeah, and you've seen Johnny Clayton win the Premier League after breaking through on TV, winning the Masters, the World Cup. I know the Premier League is a big goal for you in your career to get in there. Do you think these next 6 months could be where we see you follow Johnny, have some big runs on TV and put yourself in contention?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. It's I've had a good start to the year, solid start. I think if you was picking the Premier League now, I'd probably get in, but I've been in this position before, and I don't actually mind saying that I've obsessed about it, and a couple of times I've maybe been close and obsessed about it, and it's been to my demise. So I've spoke to Johnny about it. I've no doubt that I will get in the Premier League. If it's next year, great. If it's the year after, so be it. I will get in it at some stage, so it'll happen when it happens. I think I'm matured a bit in that sense that there's no point obsessing over it. It's just down to me. If I perform, I'm in. If I don't, I'm not. Good mindset to have. And lastly, we know you're a keen football fan. England already through to the knockout stage. How far do you think we're going to go in the Euros? I'm going to disappoint you now because I'm not patriotic whatsoever. I spoke to the guys at the darts and stuff and saying, what we're going to do, and I'm like, listen, I don't care if they get beat in the group stage or they get beat in the final. You know, if they win it, great. But I'm not one of those who's going to jump on the bandwagon if they do win it and say, "Oh, I'm an England fan." I'm a Man United fan, and that's it for me.
Fair enough. Well, best of luck to them for next season. Well done on the start to the year that you've had, and we wish you all the best for the next Super Series, the World Match Play, and what comes for the rest of the year.
Yeah, nice one. I expect this speaking to it.